Now that the points are marked, we can reference them. We'll reference between photo 4 and 5 since they are looking in the same direction. It makes finding their corresponding matches a bit easier. Switch to referencing mode. Select target K on photo 4. The selection assigns photo 4 as the source. Move over to photo 5 and identify the corresponding match. Do the same for these targets. And now there is enough information for photo 5 to orient. Target M is here. Target F here. Target I. Target N. E. D. C. A. B. Point J over here cannot be seen on photo 4, so to reference it, we open photo 1. We select Clear Source Photo, and the blue line around photo 4 goes away, indicating we no longer have a source. We can choose a new source by selecting a mark on the appropriate photo. We select point J on photo 1, and reference it to photo 5. We can now switch to Select mode, open up a point table, Quality, and see our angles have improved. We'll save this project. File, Save Project As. We'll save it as 5photos.pmr. This project has been included in the tutorials. Now open up a 3D view to find out where our points with the worst angle are. Our table here is sorted by worst angle. As you select a point in the table, the corresponding point is shown in the 3D viewer. Our worst angles are around the center. We can add an additional photo to increase the angle for these points. Close these views. Go to Add Remove Photos to add our final photo. This photo is taken from near the middle of the scene. We double-click to open it, switch to Subpixel Target Marking mode, and mark our targets. Mark the targets down the sides of the road. Target H, J in the back, K. Now reference our new points with photo 4. Open photo 4, switch to referencing mode. Reference the points. There is now enough information for photo 6 to orient. Reference the remaining points to strengthen our project. Point J can't be seen on photo 4, so we open a photo it can be seen on, such as 5. Select Clear Source Photo to remove the blue rectangle around photo 1, indicating we no longer have a source photo. We can now choose a new source photo by selecting a point on photo 5, and we'll move over to reference it on photo 6. Now when we open a table, our angles are reasonable. Another item we can check to determine how well the project solved is its residuals. The largest marked residual is always displayed on the status bar here. The residual is the number of pixels the marked point's location differs from its projected 3D location. The lower this number, the better. Clicking on the status bar will open the photo and select the point with the largest residual. We can zoom in. And see this marked location is not very well placed. We drag this mark to the correct location. Now our residual has improved. You can review the residuals of all points in your project using the point table. Quality. Sort the table by the largest residual and ensure any marks with high residuals are examined. Now that our project is solving well, we can mark some points of interest and take measurements from the scene. You can put evidence markers on ends of skid marks, near important evidence, or down the road lines as needed. You may not need as many evidence markers down the side of the road as used here, depending on if the road is straight or not. More curved or interesting features means more evidence markers. In Photo 6, we can see that evidence markers O and P have been placed by hypothetical points of interest. We mark these targets on the photos they appear, switch to subpixel marking mode, target O and target P. They also appear on Photo 5. And Photo 4. We switch to referencing mode to match up these new marks. If we want to match up more than one point at a time, we can select multiple points by using Shift, or use the Region Select button that lets us draw a region and select everything in the middle of it. We choose Region Select and click down to start drawing our region. Click to start a new line segment outlining the region to surround the points of interest, and double-click to close the region. When the selection is made, the photo becomes the source photo. We can now move over the corresponding photo and make the match. Point O and point P on Photo 4. Now we move to Photo 6. The source photo automatically switches back to point O and automatically advances to point P. There are no evidence markers near the box here, because when the photos were taken, it was not an object of interest, but later it has become an important point in our scene. As long as the object has not moved between photos, we can mark any point and reference it between photos. We mark new points of interest on Photo 5, the corner of the box here. The top of the L painted on the road here, and the corner of this fence post up here. These new points of interest can also be seen on Photo 4, so we open it, switch to Mark mode, mark the corner of the box. Mark the top of the L and the fence posts in the background. Some of the points can also be seen on Photo 6. Open Photo 6. Mark the top of the L and the corner of the box here. The top of the fence post can be seen on Photo 2. Open Photo 2 and mark the top of the fence. We can now switch to referencing mode and match up these points. The top of the fence on photo 2 here, and on this photo there. Our other points of interest. The painted L can be found here and here. The corner of the box is here and here. We switch to line mode and mark our points of interest with lines to help with visualization. Right-click, select End Draw. Draw a line between these 2 points of interest and right-click to End Draw. We open up the 3D view. Here is the complete scene in 3D. We can turn off camera stations, switch to select mode, and get a close-up view of the entire road scene. This point up here is the high point of the fence. Here. The other points are our targets and points on the road. Open up the Measure pane and select Objects to perform measurements. Selecting a line will give us the distance. A point will give us its 3D position. Hold down Shift and select a second point, and you get the distance between the 2 points. If you turn off Show Rays, we no longer get the lines showing where the camera positions were, which makes selection and visualization a bit easier. It is a good idea to take several measurements at the scene. These measurements can be used as a check to verify the photo modeler project is solving well. In this case, we know the distance between evidence markers D and N was measured at the scene as 202.0 inches. Select point D, hold down Shift, and select point N. Photo modeler's measurement is 201.79 inches. Also measured at the scene was the distance between markers E and P. This diagonal distance between here and here was measured at the scene as 192.5 inches. Our project measures it as 193.18 inches. Compared to hand tape measurements, photo modeler's results are well within the expected range. This completed model can be exported for use in another package. To do this, we select File, Exports, Export Model. We then choose the file type. We will choose a 2D DXF export. We select what entities to export. In this case, we'll leave the defaults and choose a Z-plane of 0, giving us a top-down view. For side or front views, we could zero out a different axis, or for a full 3D model, we could choose 3D DXF Export. We click OK and select a file name for our export. We'll call it RoadScene.dxf. Save. This file has now been exported. We'll also save the completed project. Save as done.pmr. This project is included with the tutorials if you wish to load and examine it. Here is an example of our exported model opened up inside Crash Zone. Open up the RoadScene.dxf, which we have just exported from Photo Modeler, and the scene is shown here inside Crash Zone. We add a dimension in Crash Zone. You can select, for example, our scale measurement here, and Crash Zone automatically knows what scale we've used. As this information is included in the export, add the markup. Another example, our evidence markers here may have been placed at the scene where a bicycle was lying. We can zoom in, click to place a bike where our evidence markers were. The drawing is all scaled correctly, and the dimensions are all known within the third-party package. This concludes the road scene mapping tutorial. We have learned how to select photos with a good angle of separation, mark and reference points, add a scale and rotation, perform measurements, and export the completed project.